south today to get me to Stonehenge, the Stone Circle, very famous. Probably you've already heard of it, because tomorrow is the summer solstice and there's a big celebration going on, and I thought I want to go. I've been asking around people who I thought might know where I can park for this, because it's popular, right? It's going to be loads of people and I'm not quite sure what to expect. So I'm heading there a day early, 24 hours early. So 7 p.m. tomorrow, the site kind of opens up, and it probably opens. This is one of 2 times a year where you can actually go into the stones, because it's normally fenced off. Where I'm parking, I think it's about a 20-minute walk, which is about as close as you can get. There's loads of people, like, outside on the grass, van doors open, chatting away. Do I go and say hi? I don't normally do that, but I don't normally find communities like this either. I feel like it'd be rude not to. Okay, let's go. And just like that, I've made a couple of friends. So I'm going to take some warm ciders and go chill out on the grass with them lot. So I walked up here last night, made a few friends, which was fun. And we were just like jamming out on the green. I got my ukulele out, they had a guitar, they had a couple of drums. And that's the first time I think I've ever kind of found a little van life community. And I guess this is the place, right? Stonehenge at the Solstice. But they're all local. A lot of them live here in this area all the time in their vans, which is pretty cool. I got to work today before the celebration tonight, but I'm actually going to go sit outside because it's such a nice day. So I'm going to take my little chair and my laptop and just pop over to where my new friends are and just chill out with them for today. And if you turned up now, you'd find a spot, but come midday, I think it's going to be full here. So they've got a few mates on the way and they're like, get it quick. The weather's looking really good and we're likely to see the sunrise, which many years you don't, which always brings more people. So we'll see how busy it gets. Okay, it's 4 p.m. I'm logging off work. I'm now off work for 7, 9, 10, 11 days. Yes. So I've got Stonehenge, straight onto Glastonbury, off to the festival, and then some time to recover afterwards. And yeah, I'm really excited to just have a very crazy couple of weeks. Probably going to be half dead by the end of it. Anyway, I've had to get changed because it's absolutely sweltering. It is 30 degrees in the van. It's probably not much cooler than that outside. I think I'm ready. So let's just talk about Stonehenge and why so many people have come here on this particular day. Stonehenge is a Neolithic monument in Wiltshire, England, made up of a ring of standing stones, some weighing over 25 tonnes, and it was built in several phases between around 3000 and 1600 BC, meaning it's around 5,000 years old, which is older than the pyramids of Egypt. And what makes it so fascinating isn't just the stones, it's the mystery, because nobody quite knows what it was for. There were around 4,000 stone circles built in this period, many of which were around the British Isles, but none were quite like Stonehenge with its unique and this huge temple-like construction. And on the summer solstice, which is the longest day of the year, the sun rises perfectly in line with the heel stone, which is a stone that sits outside of the circle, and the sun shines into the centre of the monument, which suggests that astronomy played a major role. But whatever the reason, people went to great lengths to build this and spent centuries doing so. And the stones themselves hold a lot of mystery. They just weren't lying around in the local plains. The larger stones were moved here from around 20 miles away, but the closest place the smaller stones can be found is over 140 miles away in Wales, and they're still not small. So how people moved these massive stones without wheels or cranes or any modern tools is still debated, and no one quite knows. And the myths surrounding Stonehenge are vast. People say that Merlin used a giant to build it, that it was made by aliens as a landing site, or that the site was chosen specifically to connect a series of ley lines around England. Now we know that hundreds of people were buried here, and it was used as a burial ground for around 500 years. But this iconic and mystical site still captivates thousands of people, especially on this significant day of the year, and especially when it's open for full access, which it usually isn't.
And what interests me is how many sites like this that demonstrate the pagan history of England have been destroyed by the church, who saw it as devil worship, and yet much of Stonehenge remains upright. And today it is still a very sacred site for Druids and pagans, many of which make the journey here twice a year for both solstices. So I've gotten in pretty early, pretty much as the gates opened, went through the very vigorous security, and the guys that I'd been spending the last couple of days hanging out with turned out to be the first ones into the circle with their drums. So they started off a drumming circle. And everyone is just flocking into the stone circle because obviously everybody wants to get inside, and it's nowhere near as busy now as it's going to get later. I'd had an idea earlier to do some drawings whilst I was there, and I'd brought some stuff with me, so I just kind of sat down behind my drummer friends and started doing that. And then this guy led a ceremony which everybody was invited to join in, and basically just involved calling on the different elements in a prayer for peace in different parts of the world, and essentially all over the world.
Peace. So mote it be.
Fall to the south in the powers of fire. Hail and welcome.
Hail and welcome.
And then there was a hand fasting, which is essentially a pagan wedding ceremony where the hands are tied together with rope to signify the bond between the two people. And these two are just waiting for their turn to go next. It's a pretty quick ceremony, or at least it is here when it's on this particular time and place. And then it was back to more drumming, and I decided to take a walk around and see what else is going on as the sun went down. I should confess at this point, I've been to the Stones once before. It was about 15 years ago, and I didn't think I really knew what to expect. I think I had a very different expectation in mind to what it really was. And I came away just hating drums, or bongo drums in particular. I'm kind of over that enough now to enjoy myself again and enjoy the drumming, which was quite a relief, to be honest with you. But people are playing instruments in groups all over the whole area, and others just gather to watch and dance and enjoy and just partake in the celebration in whichever way they want to. There's also a poetry stage area where people read their own or their favourite poetry, and I quite enjoyed just sitting there for a while and listening. There was lots of themes of folklore and nature, and the whole thing was just really quite peaceful and a just really nice space to be. So by now the sun is down and the stones are lit up blue, and so I just sat down to do another drawing, and this time I did it in reverse on darker paper using a white chalk. And lots of people were really curious about me drawing and stopped to chat, which was also really lovely. But by this point it was really, really busy, and I tried to walk back into the stone circle, and that was just not possible because it was just full of people. It's midnight, which means I've been here 5 hours, and I've done everything. I've done 2 drawings, I've done the ceremony, I've, walked around, watched the poetry, done all sorts of things, and there's another 5 hours almost until the sun rises, and I don't think I can pass another 5 hours in the dark, and it's not cold, but it's really damp in the air, and I brought layers, but the damp is penetrating all of my layers, so I figured there are no points to be won for staying here and enduring the night. Everyone's just trying to sleep on the floor and everyone else is stepping all over them, so it's not like a great environment. But I have my bed 20 minutes away, so I'm just going to go and have a little sleep and then come back for the sunrise, and I figured that is an okay thing to do. I decided on the walk back that I'm going to sleep until 3 and then the sun will start coming up, even though it won't come above the horizon until 5ish. I'll still have plenty of time to get back and set myself up in a nice spot for the sunrise. But as I got back into the van, I just really recognised how lucky I am that I can do it this way. I have never had a lot of money, so everything I've ever done, like any experience that I wanted to go to, it had been done the cheapest way I could. You know, the cheapest hotel, the crap part of town, and the cheapest public transport. I never even had a car until I bought a van. So, you know, everything was done on a budget. In order to do it, I had to do it very frugally. And this life in a van is just so different from that, because I get to go to all these experiences and I drive there in my home. So I'm like a 20-minute walk from Stonehenge and everyone's sleeping on the floor because they've driven for hours to get here in the car, or they've taken a bus or a train like I did last time that I came here. And people may come back to the car for a nap, but I just recognise how amazing it is that I can come back to my home, just a 20-minute walk from this, and then just go back again. It's just so far from what I've known before to go to these kind of experiences. And yeah, I just kind of noticed how that felt from the other side, I guess. And I feel very, very lucky to have this situation that I do. It's not just luck, because I somewhere along the lines made a decision to do this, and this is what that decision, you know, selling everything that I owned, giving up a stable house. There's a sacrifice, but the advantage is this, and there's two sides to that decision. But it really does give me an incredible freedom that I've never known before, and I'm really grateful for. I'm ready for round 2. I've got a waterproof jacket on as well. I should hopefully keep all that damp out. Okay, I'm just thinking about all the people who have been lying on the ground uncomfortable for the last 3 hours listening to bongo drums, and yeah, I can do this. A fair few people have either done the same or have just arrived for the first time. Really busy now. I think it's busier now than it was last night when I left. I guess more people have arrived and they have gone home. I found quite a spot on the outskirts, but I got a feeling in half an hour it's going to be heaving again, because anybody wants to come here and look that way and watch the sun coming up beyond the hills. Lots of people had their own little morning rituals, I guess. Everybody wanted to touch the Heelstone or be near there. People were doing yoga, chanting, sun salutations, all sorts of different things. Cheering, lots of cheering. And everybody was clearly very tired, but the sight was still really beautiful at sunrise, and there was so many more people who weren't there the night before from different organisations and stuff. And then this running club arrived, and then I just hooted on back to my van along with everybody else exiting the site at the same time, across the fields and picking up their bikes. Obviously I went back to bed for some more sleep, but after this I just took a couple of days off to relax and recoup and explore Glastonbury town before I went to the festival, which is where you will see me in the next video. So I'll catch you at Glastonbury. See you soon!